Hello and welcome to another WIP Wednesday. Get your beverage, get your project, come on in. Say hello in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from and what it is that we're doing together today. Are you whipping with your needles? Are you whipping with your hook? Are you telling us a story? Are you writing your first book? Yeah, I'm going to be knitting with you today. That's right. Got two circular knitting needles here. Trying to make another skirt. You guys know I love to make skirts. I should try to do other things besides like clothes, right? But I love fashion. I love to buy fun clothes, right? Like what I got on today with these little lace and these cutouts and stuff. I love fun fashion and it inspires my knitting and crochet, right? So I love to do that stuff, but I know I should try to do other things. So, by the way, it's before we even get started. Did you see my tutorial this last weekend, right? Did you see it? Yeah, for the hat. That's my fancy and faux fur hat. So, yeah, I just put out this knitting. I know. So who saw it? Who's working on it? And are you making it for yourself? Are you making it in pink for breast? It's totally fine if you don't. I mean, I made my first one in gray, right? I wasn't thinking. It was almost a year ago that I designed that hat. I do keep a journal. I don't know if some of you have heard me say that before, but I do keep a journal on the very phone that we're talking on, that we're communicating on, just in my notepad, and take notes and dictate some stuff about my day. That's all. And so I was looking back in there trying to figure out, when did I design that hat? Because I couldn't even remember how I did it, right? And so I was like, somewhere in there, there's got to be some notes in there. And there was. I did take notes on the hat. So grateful for that. Because you know what I often say on this channel, right? I'm like, did that and I can't replicate it. I don't know how I did it. And that's just the truth. Oftentimes I don't. I'm like, oh my goodness, I love that. And I don't think we can replicate it. But that hat I knew, because I tried so many times, like I said, right? I tried many times and I just never expected the stitch count to be so low because it's such a thick, fluffy yarn. So I did take notes on it. I actually had them to go back and look at. So it was like almost a year ago in November, the end of October, first part of November, that I designed the hat. Now I have the scarf and the fingerless gloves, right? If you've been a returning viewer, I also designed, let's see, that's the hat. Designed some fingerless gloves, designed a matching scarf. So do y'all want to learn how to make that stuff too? And then we can have like a full set. I mean, it doesn't even matter what color you make it in, right? You can have a full set for yourself or to gift, because holidays are right around the corner. And if you're a crafter, then you got to start making those gifts, right? So the nice thing about these, like I said, you can make the hat in an afternoon. It goes fast because it's super bulky. But the whole set, because it's all a super bulky yarn, it's gonna go fast. So you'll have a whole nice gift set done in a couple of days, okay? So that is the nice thing about it. And to my knowledge, they haven't clearanced out the black yet, or the gray, or the brown. So that's the name of the brown color. So, but I don't even know if they still have some of the pink available or not, the Paloma. I saw it on clearance, and I want to buy a whole box of it. I do, right? And I'm like, where am I going to come up with the money for that? Because I'm very worried that they are going to, just completely discontinue it. And then how am I going to make hats and bears, y'all? What am I going to do? Another fur yarn gone. So sad about that. But I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get like a whole box of, fun fur yarn so I can make hats and scarves and fingerless gloves and bears for myself and everybody else, right? I'm like, me and everybody else needs those. So do you guys want me to teach you how to make this scarf and the fingerless gloves, and then we can all have matching sets and whatever colors? Because I've been wanting to make myself, I have some of the Corvo, right, the black, and the ice bar. See, the ice bar, that's the white, it's gone. It's gone. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So I only have so much of that. And you've probably seen it before on my channel. I have my faux fur swing coat, which I also designed. Uh, but I made that when I was smaller than I am now, okay, weight wise, and it was a little bit snug on me then. And well, it fit really good, but it fit snug. It wasn't too snug, but it fit snugly. So now I'm looking at that going, if I put weight back on at all, I'm gonna have to remake that for myself bigger, right? So, and that took like 10 skeins of yarn in that size to make that one. So I'm probably going to need 11 or 12 to remake it larger for me in black or white, right? Or both. I probably need it in both, right? So I want to make many things with that yarn, and I don't know how much I have in the black and white, but I do want to make myself like a hat and fingerless glove and scarf set in the black and the white, and of course your swing coat, and then, you know, probably trim up a Christmas hat with it, right? I mean, I could make like a red hat with the holly berry, right, and in the swish, or the wool of the Andes, and then trim it with some white fur. I mean, we could use the white on Christmas stockings, and there's so many things. So I'm really sad that they discontinued the white. I really hope that they're like rethinking that, and they're like, we're gonna try to figure out how to get this. So, because you know I want to make a Christmas hat, and so I don't know. I guess we could use a non-furry white yarn for that too. Let's think about that for start something Saturday, which is already coming up again pretty soon for November. We got to start thinking about Christmas projects. So I want to make like a hat like that, but I don't know what kind of fur yarn to use since they've discontinued the white and the ice bar. But I guess we could just use plain old wool yarn too, right? So I got that going on in my head. Lots of ideas going on in my head. But I'm wondering if you guys, I know that with them maybe possibly discontinuing the yarn, I want people to start buying it, so then they start thinking twice about discontinuing it, right? If I put out tutorials teaching people like here's projects that you can make with it, then maybe people will all of a sudden start buying it, and then maybe they'll realize, people besides me, and they'll realize that it's in high demand and they should keep it. Maybe they'll decide not to discontinue it. So I mean, I've got all kinds of motives why I want to put out those tutorials, because, you know, it's fun. I want people to love yarn and love knitting and love crochet, and I want people to get my love of novelty yarns. I do. I'm like, but you don't see all the potential with it. I see so much potential with all of these fun yarns, right? Whether it's like the bling yarn, right? Like the bling. I better turn on the light, huh? It's getting dark pretty fast for you. Are you guys getting too dark? All right, let's turn on a light. How about that? Is that better? Is that better? So, you know, I see those yarns, and I see so much potential with ways that you can like trim up projects with those sparkly yarns, those fancy yarns. Like, I look at them. I have the Gala over here somewhere from Premier, sitting over here somewhere next to me. Some sparkle. We got some sparkle out. The metallic yarn. Gorgeous. Love it. I see so many possibilities with that. I'm like, you know, I see it right now as just like an accent yarn to trim up something or to work up a project with. But at the same time, I'm like, I wonder if you could just use it by itself. I don't know. Like, I was talking about the fun fur the other day, right? With the Lion Brand fun fur. And Lion Brand also had what was called Vanna's Glamour, which was kind of like this. It was a sport weight yarn with sparkle. Oh my gosh. Love it. I bought up so much of that too. And they discontinued that too. I was like, what? See, because it was one of those novelty yarns, and I bought a bunch of it. But apparently other people weren't buying the yarn with the bling. Now that yarn, this Gala over here, I just started playing with it, and it's a little stiffer and it's a scratchier yarn. They're both sport weight #2. They both have lots of sparkle and bling. But the Vanna's Glamour from Lion Brand was definitely a softer yarn, right? You could actually make like just garments. You didn't have to put it with another yarn or just use it for trim or accent. Like you could just make, I have a top made out of it that I love. I absolutely love. And I don't know if I have enough of it in any one color to make a full dress with it. I want to. You better believe I want to make like a full dress with that yarn. But see, back then, I wasn't buying 10 packs of everything. I wasn't in that mindset where I am like, I don't know what now I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to make with it. So I better get a 10 pack, right? But I wasn't there then. Then I wanted like a sampling of every color. You know, so with that I have some of the black, some of it's like a off-white, some of the gray, and the pink, and the red, and the blue. I was like getting all the colors. And now I look at it and I'm like, do I have enough to make a dress in any one color? I don't know that I do. So, but I did make a short sleeve top with it. I'm gonna have to dig that out and wear it. I may have worn it on the channel once. I can't remember, y'all. I can't remember if I wore it on the channel once or not. So I definitely have to like dig around and get that top out. You know what? I have worn it on the channel at least once. It's like a bright hot pink. It's like a hot pink sparkly top. And now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, pretty sure I wore it on here. So, but I love that yarn too. It was one of my favorites that I was buying up and then got discontinued. And so I'm like, because people don't know what to do with it. So I'm like, well, if I can put out some free patterns instead of free tutorials for the fun for yarn, then maybe they'll say, that's a hot item, right? People want that. So I haven't, like I said, though, I don't have notes on the scarf and the fingerless gloves. So I'm thinking about making them for myself, maybe in the black or the white, just so I can make sure that I have it, you know, correct, that I have it exactly how I have it here or correct so that I can teach it properly, right? We want to make sure that when I'm teaching it, I got it, right? I got it. So, but I did get the pink out. I got more of the Paloma out, right? So that I could. I'm looking at it here. It's sitting, it's right here, hanging out with us on the bed. Here it is. We dug up more of the Paloma because if I do it on the channel, I feel like we should make it to match our pink hat, even though I can't really wear that color very well. I feel like we should make a match set. I can gift it to somebody, right? That's what I made the hat for, so I can just gift somebody a whole set in the pink. That's a possibility. And I also feel like if I'm doing a tutorial, that pink is going to show up better. Like as much as I want to make it in black, I'm like, pretty sure that pink is going to show up better. I know a lot of people don't like it when people do tutorials with black. And I know that's more of a thing with crochet, right? Because you really have to see to go into that stitch, whereas like your knitted stitch is on the needle. So like I've got this light sunstruck wood with this black yarn. So I'm kind of thinking that sighted people will be able to see this, right? Could you see these stitches if I did a tutorial with black on a light colored wood? Would y'all be able to see that? I don't know. It doesn't bother me to knit and crochet with black at all, right? I mean, we got our new friends up there. Boo the Bat and Spooky Spider in black. Didn't bother me to work with the black yarn because I do it all by feel. So that's not an issue for me, but I know some people say that. And so I don't want to do a tutorial where people can't see it. I want people to see it. So I'm like, maybe I should make myself a black hat and scarf set. That's the thing too. Once I start realizing that a yarn is going to be discontinued, then I'm like, my precious, right? And I want to save that for something really special, right? So then I don't want to use it. And that's the thing. So I'm going to have to do some inventory on the black that I have in the house. Because I also want to make a black bear, right? I mean, bears don't just come in tan and pink. Bears come in all colors. So we need black bear needs to come and hang out with us too, right? We want bears in all colors. Bears in all colors are welcome here. And so, you know, black bear needs to show up to the party at some point. Mrs. Bear met him on her way down here and they're friends. No matter what Mr. Bear says, right? They're friends. So I feel like we need black bear to show up. So I'm going to have to figure out how much of that yarn I have in black. because I want to redo my swing coat larger, want the hat and the scarf set, want a bear. Um, you know what? Yeah, I'm like almost tempted to make a dress out of it. For real, a dress. I know you're like, what? Yeah, I am. Do you remember? Does any of you remember back in the, oh gosh, it would have been early to mid 90s, in those like fuzzy, furry like dresses were in. They were in like tops and dresses and stuff, and they were like a furry thing. I still have one. I'm gonna have to dig it out. I still have, and it's pale pink, and probably the color of Mrs. Bear. Probably again, doesn't really even look that good on me, but I bought it anyway because I liked it, right? Because I love the texture of it, because it was fluffy and furry, and it's this halter dress. It's this fuzzy, furry pink halter dress. That I got back in the 90s. Yeah, and I used to wear it to dance and stuff and go out in. But here's the thing about it. See, it's like that furry yarn. It's like a polyester or something. So it's not breathable, right? And then it's like thick because it's the furry fabric. It's really thick and dense. And so when you're out at the club, you get really hot in it. That's why I didn't wear it that much going out to clubs and dances and stuff, because it's hot, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of like a mini dress, like above the knee, and it's like a halter style, so the back's open. So it's really not meant to be, even though it's a thick fabric, it's not really meant to be worn, in cool climates, because of the style of the dress. So that if you want to wear like a shorter dress like that, that's an open back, then where the dress is kind of hot. So that's my one hesitation in being like, make a dress out of that yarn, is that it's gonna be warm where it's on, and then the rest of you, because I really get inspired when I think about that pink dress that I have. I'm like, I wonder if I could make that pink dress with that furry yarn. Like I could make the exact dress, right? But with the furry yarn. I love doing that. I love looking at, like, getting inspired from fashion. That's, if you wonder why I sit here and I make clothes, and I try to make clothes. I have failures too. I have more failures than you guys have ever seen. I got failures. There's a underneath this pile somewhere. In the bottom of this pile is a failure that I was sure was going to be a genius idea. And I was close to getting it. I was. And then I was like, and I don't actually think, I thought the stitch count was wrong, but I don't think it actually was. But I moved on and made another. I made this out of that cotton linen, right? And I made that V-neck top instead. I went with another bottom up top. So I was trying to do a top down. So, but in the bottom of this pile, that top is sitting over there. My first attempt at it, trying to do that style. And I still want to figure out if I can do that sometime. I absolutely do. But I do feel like I'm probably going to frog that. I do. I'm getting closer and closer and closer to being like, because it's on cables. It's on cables, right? It's got the little end caps on it. And I'm like, you know what? It's October. It's almost November. You're talking about Christmas projects now. So just frog it. What do you guys think? So I got this skirt on my needles now, but I'm like, what if I don't have my skirt done for Finisher Friday? If I don't have anything done for Finisher Friday, should we just come on and be like, Frog It Friday? Should we just talk about our fails, right? Our fails, and that it's okay to try, because that's really what it's about, right? When you design your own stuff, when you like get freed from the pattern and you just go with it, then you like you got to be ready for failure, okay? If once you step away from the pattern and you just do your own thing, you got to get ready to fail. That's just reality. You got to be like, okay, you know what? It's time to try, and we may not have success with this, and that's okay, right? Because at least I tried it. So, but I get a lot of inspiration just from my own fashion, from my own wardrobe. I'll have to do a whole video on that sometime, because I have a sweater. I just saw it in my room that I bought just because I was really fascinated by the stitch pattern on it, okay? I'll bring it in here someday. We'll have to just like have a whole, right now I'm doing Tuesday talks for Blindness Awareness Month. And I'm curious, those aren't getting a lot of views, which is fine. I actually expected that. It's fine that they don't get a lot of views. I expected that because I know that that's not of interest right now for people, but I want the videos there for people when they need them, right? When people are starting to experience vision loss and vision impairment and vision changes, I want the videos there for people for when they go looking on the internet, which I hope that they do. I hope people do. I hope you do. If you start to experience vision changes, then they're there for people. They're a resource. They're what I watch. Rob the Maritimer, who teaches people how to have YouTube channels, right? And he's like, he calls it evergreen content, right? It's not something like a news channel where, you know, if you're talking about a news story, you might get, you know, go viral that day, but that video is only relevant, you know, for like 3 days or something, versus something that's with evergreen. So it's always going to be out there and could be useful. It could be viewed by people. So that's kind of what he calls evergreen content. So it's out there for people when they need it, when they search for it, right? How to organize your yarn with large print and braille, and how to access patterns when you can't see them. So I'm doing some Tuesday talks for Blindness Awareness Month, but we might continue to do some Tuesday talks and talk about fashion and inspiration and clothes, because I definitely have a lot of pieces of clothing. I look to fashion a lot. I get inspiration from that, and I'm struggling to see stuff anymore on my screen, but I still have a lot of cool stuff in my wardrobe that inspires me, right? Like I'm living in a 3-bedroom house upstairs, and plus there's the downstairs, which who knows what's up with that. But so all my stuff got moved into there. But in the upstairs, there's a 3-bedroom house, and all 3 closets are packed full of my clothes. So a lot of clothes, and I get really inspired by fashion. And so sometimes I'll buy stuff just to get a better look, because I can't see it very well on the internet. And I'm like, I need to get my hands on that, right? And figure that out. So I'll have to do a whole video on this, but I actually just saw this sweater in my room, and it cracks me. I bought it just literally so that I could look at the stitch pattern. It's machine made, okay? It's mass produced. It's bought from a big company. It's not like a handmade sweater or something, but I could tell that there was like a knit type lace stitch pattern on it, and I was really intrigued by it, and so I bought it. But let me tell you guys, it is the most impractical sweater. It's long sleeve, and it's a turtleneck, but it's like a crop sweater, like a V kind of cut in it and everything in the front, so it's even higher up. And I'm like, when are you gonna want a turtleneck and a crop sweater, right? I mean, when I rarely find myself in such conditions. I'm like, if it's cold enough for me to wear a turtleneck, I don't usually want, bare midriff. And when I want a bare midriff, I usually don't want a turtleneck. So it's a puzzling garment that I rarely wear, but I bought it specifically off the internet because I was like, I gotta see that stitches on that. So, because I just couldn't zoom in and see it well enough. That's terrible, right? But that's what I do. I just get ideas from fashion. So we'll have to do a whole talk on that sometime, and looking at fashion and getting inspired and getting ideas. And so maybe we'll do some other, Tuesday talks on different topics like that. Once Blindness Awareness Month is over, which it almost is, but I'm not saying I won't still talk about blindness stuff and guide dog stuff when it's relevant, okay? Because that's my life, and so it's it's not just 1 month out of the year. So I'll talk about that stuff other times too. But it definitely inspires me. I think it's interesting, and if I could actually draw, I don't have enough sight, and I don't have the ability to draw and to sketch. If I did, I probably would, have sketched out a bunch of designs and actually have a portfolio that I could submit to somebody and would have been interested in the fashion industry, right? Because it really interests me. But the reality is I can't draw and I can't sketch out my designs and I can't even, use like a mouse on it. Like I used to play with that paint a long time ago on the Mac. They had those paint applications, right? But I can't even get it like my hand with the mouse. Like I can't even do that, okay? So now I know today that with the AI, it's so advanced, there'll probably come a time when I can just describe what I see in my head, right? And then the AI is going to create me an image of it, which, that's cool, but then I would still have to figure out how to make that with knitting and crochet. So, I mean, just because I could, say to the AI, I see this dress and, I want it to look like this and this color and, this style and, an A-line, or I want it, like a sheath style dress or a halter, whatever. I can describe it to that, and it could make me an image of it at some point, but, I still would have to figure out how to translate that to different stitch patterns. So, but I definitely know that if I had the ability to draw and to sketch my own stuff, I would have been much more interested in a career in fashion. But as it is, I just knew that was not something that was an option for me, at least, during the time when I was looking at careers. But it's always been an interest to me and it always inspires me. I look at stuff all the time and think, can I make that, right? Because I can either like buy clothes and buy shoes, or I can buy yarn, but I can't buy both right now. And food, right? I still have to say to myself, May, you can't eat yarn. So I can buy like shoes and clothes, or I can buy yarn. And I'd much rather create at this point with a house full of clothes. I'd much rather create, and I'd much rather have the mental challenge and say to myself, like, make it, create it, see if you can't make it, even if it means it's a failure, even if it means it doesn't work out, right? Then I think it's better for me mentally to challenge myself and say, can you make this? And what are you seeing in your head? And can you create this? I like that. So for me, I don't buy really clothes and shoes and stuff very often anymore because I don't need them. And I really don't leave my house that much. Okay, that's just real. I don't leave my house that much. And so, it's like it's not really necessary. I don't go out to the clubs anymore or anything like that. Not living that life anymore. I live in a real rural area and hardly even go to the grocery store, right? So I'm not going to clubs like I did in my 20s and stuff like that. So not living that life anymore. But so for this skirt, like I'll turn it so you guys can see it and I'll talk. So I'm trying to decide right now, like obviously I've tried this on and we could call the around, right, the circumference of where it's at around my thighs, we could call that good and not make it any wider, or I could really flare it out some more and make it really fluffy. And that's where I'm struggling with it right now. Like I do think that I still, right, this is where it's at, like I do want to crochet on the bottom of it, right? Like so many of my other skirts, I'm picturing crochet on the bottom of it in the black. But right now, I'm like, do we want to flare it out? And how floofy do we want it? That's the question. How floofy do we want our skirt? Or do we? Because I got some that black dress that I made. That's a skirt that you can twirl in, right? I don't know how many of you've seen my black dress, my feather and fan dress. I've worn it. I've showed it on the channel a few times. So I definitely love a floofy skirt. I made a skirt out of the stroll with the lace hearts on it. And that, my yarn's getting, I'm like really getting my yarn tangled now. Trying to get it back to where I could knit with it again. Into that position that I want to knit with it. So I want to crochet on the bottom of this skirt, and I definitely have some stitch patterns going around in my head that I could put on the bottom of it. But see, you have to know your stitch pattern because you have to know what multiple you're going to put, right? With your different stitch patterns have different multiples, and you need so many stitches to do this and so many to do that. So I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to make a decision pretty soon here, right? If I want to do this or I want to do that, then I'm going to have to say, okay, I need to increase it by this many more stitches to make that stitch pattern work out, or increase it by this many more stitches to make that stitch pattern. So I'm trying to decide on the look of the skirt that I'm going for, because I could really flare it out. I absolutely could. I could do. Right now, I'm just doing what I usually do, which is do like increase 4 stitches about every 4 rounds or so. That's usually what I do. But I could, especially with the DK weight yarn, I like that look on me. But I can also do where I do some yarn overs. I could put some yarn overs in there, and really, really flare it out good before I transition over to crochet. Right? I could do a row where I do put in kind of like an eyelet round, where I put in some eyelet lace and really increase my stitch count and really flare it out. So I'm thinking about that. That's going through my head for sure. But I'm like, do I want to do that or not? So I'm trying to make a decision. Or I could just put just a little knit ruffle on the bottom or something like that too, and call it good, right? I mean, you can do that too. Or I could just knit some lace on the bottom. Or I could just make it, just plain on the bottom, but that doesn't really sound like me, right? I want to do something fun with it. I do. So that's what I'm trying to decide right now, is how fluffy, right? How fluffy, how floofy, how twirly do I want this skirt on this? So make it in the black. Did I say that already? In the Brava Baby DK, right? So that I can wear it with my black and orange socks if I want to. So, which would be good. Not that I'm going anywhere. I'm not planning on. By the way, I'm not planning on going anywhere for Halloween. I'm not planning for that. I'm gonna be right here at home, right? And we don't have trick-or-treaters or none of that out, because it's a rural area, right? And I wouldn't open the door for them anyway. I'm just saying, where I live out here, I'm like, nope, I don't open the door for people. So just saying, right? I don't get any plans, because I don't open the door. This is like my mom and dad or something. I let them into the house, right? My sister, but other than that, I wouldn't be giving out candy or open the door for anybody. So I'm not actually planning on seeing anybody for Halloween, but it doesn't mean that I don't still want an occasion to make myself something fun to wear, of course, right? So, but that's like the skirt. I'm like, the skirt I could wear anytime, which is why I talked about wanting to make it separate and not make it a dress, so that I could just have a nice black skirt that I can wear. So that's where I'm at with that, as I'm debating on. I'm like, I'm going to have to make a commitment pretty soon. I'm going to have to commit. Excuse me. Ooh, sorry. Excuse me. So I'm going to have to commit to a stitch pattern here pretty soon for the bottom, so that I'll know what multiple I want. Now that's my thing. I always get indecisive. I'm like, well, I could do that, or I could do that, or I could do that, and I come up with so many different possibilities. So I have to make up my mind on what stitch pattern I want, so that I can commit to increasing my stitches, how many more, to get the right number on there for the multiple. So that's always the tricky part in design, is that I'm almost there. So who knows, I might set this skirt down and might not have it done by the 31st, because I might look at it and go, oh, I can't decide what stitch pattern I want to put on there. I can't make up my mind. So anyways, that's what's going through my mind with this. I hope I finish it, though. I really do. It's my goal. I'm like, get this one done by the 31st, right? Even if it's my project, which Halloween is on a Friday, so this could be my last finish it Friday for the month. So I don't know. I don't know. It's always a mystery to me when I'm designing my own stuff, and I'm not. If I follow another pattern, I could be like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can get that done in that time frame. But when I'm designing it myself, and I have to make decisions and figure out things like stitch counts and where to put things and increases. I mean, you have to do that creative process on your own. Then it can take me a lot longer. You can't force that, right? You can't force the creative process. You just can't, in my opinion. I can't be like, I'm going to make it happen by this time. So I am just, My goal is to have this skirt done, even though I'm not going anywhere for Halloween. My goal is to have the skirt done by then, just to give myself a goal, right? I like to like be like, okay, May, you want to have it done by this date, right? This day. If I don't, it's okay. I can wear a black skirt in November and December. It could be my New Year's Eve skirt or something, right? We could have a black New Year's Eve skirt too. So there's always that. If I get like excited about doing something else this month, because I could, I have lots of other stuff, lots of other ideas in my head, lots of other stuff started for sure. Still want to make more pumpkins. What? I have a whole pumpkin patch already. I know. But I still am like, ooh, I can make another pumpkin. So I do want to remake those fingerless gloves and those scarves so that I know that I can teach it properly. But anyway, I wanted to ask about the tutorial. So who watched it? Give me your feedback. Honest is good. Like, you don't have to be rude, but honesty is good, right? Because I want it. That's a hat is a beginner project. It's a beginner project. It's I think a beginner, as soon as you know how to knit and purl and join in the round and knit two together, cast on, you can make that hat. It's a beginner project. And so I wanted the tutorial to be beginner friendly. Okay. So I think that I made it beginner friendly. But I also know an advanced knitter, right? Like my sister is going to be like, like rolling their eyes, so I know a part of me is like, you don't have to make it so long because a beginner can just rewind. But then I'm like, an experienced knitter can fast forward to where they want to get to too. So I don't know. I'm still struggling, okay? As somebody who's new to making tutorials, right? Which I am. I'm new to making tutorials. I am struggling with how to balance them so that a beginner knitter who's wanting, a fun, fast, easy project to kind of just get that sense of accomplishment, that immediate gratification. I made a gift for somebody in a day because, I need a gift tomorrow because you can make that hat in a day. So I want that hat to be there for a beginner to say, okay, I'm on the internet and I'm looking for beginner projects, right? So I want that to be there for them, and I want it to be beginner friendly, but I also know that it's, could really bore and annoy an experienced knitter who's like, just give it to me already. Because I get that way with some things. I do. I get impatient. I'm like, get on. Okay. Tell me, right? Like I get it. I get it. I get impatient sometimes when I'm watching tutorials and I'm trying to like fast forward to where I want to get. Okay. I need the stitch now. So I'm still new to making tutorials. I'll be the first to tell you that, right? In case you don't know that. I'm new. I'm like 8 months. 8 months. 22nd is 8 months on YouTube. So I'm new to making tutorials. And so I'm still learning. My tutorials in my whole channel is still a big old whip, right? For WIP Wednesday. It's a big old whip. So I'm still learning. I'm still in the process. And let me know your thoughts on how I recorded the Mondays with May while the hat was in process over the weekend, right? Like I think, I did that like while I was making it because I wanted the tutorial to be out for the weekend. And by the way, let me know if you like tutorials over the weekend. For me, I feel like that's when people are home. And that's when people, might be looking for a project. But then I also feel like, what? Maybe weekends are for family and hanging out with your spouse and your kids. And maybe people, shouldn't, are not or should not be on the internet so much, looking at tutorials. I don't know. Like, I can't decide. Part of me is like, the weekend's a good time to drop a tutorial. And then part of me is like, maybe I should put them out on Tuesdays. Are those better days for tutorials? So I definitely want your feedback on that. What days do you like a good tutorial to come out? Or do you care? You're like, when I search for it, I search for it. If I see it, I'll, remember and be like, okay, I'll make that later on, or I'll save it or whatever. because I don't know, like, I'm unemployed and I'm here most of the time, so I'm like, whatever. But I know that people got families and jobs and things, and so I'd love to know when is convenient for people. Tell me know your thoughts on seeing the Mondays with May, seeing it in process afterwards. Like, do you like that where you get the tutorial first and then you get like the behind the scenes on a Monday? Or would you rather, if I'm going to film the behind the scenes part for the Mondays with May, would you rather than get the tutorial afterwards? Because I could have done that. I could have filmed the Mondays with May while I was making it and then had the tutorial come out the following weekend. But I just wanted to I was like, once the tutorial's done, I want it out there. I'm excited to get it out there. Like, I want you guys to get to make it now, right? I mean, I could have saved it for one more weekend. It still would have been October. Still would have been Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But I definitely wanted it out there for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the pink. And I wanted people to have a chance and time to make it in pink. Okay, I think I'm going to be done with the skirt with y'all. Here's where we're at. With that, I'm going to try it on again. So let me know your thoughts on that. Like, do you like to see the in-process video at all? Do you care if, I get 2 videos out of the project? Or would you rather be like, no, we don't want that, or we want to see the in-process making and then the tutorial is going to come out, the next weekend? So I would love to hear from you. I'd love your feedback on that. But if you missed it, if you didn't see it, this is the pink hat, right? This is the fancy and faux fur hat that we made. It's knit. It is easy. It's knitting around. You cast on, you join in the round, you knit, you purl for your garter stitch, and then you just knit. And then you do your crown shaping, which involves knit 2 together. And that's it. I really love this hat. I brought it in the gray too. So you don't have to just make it for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You can make it for anybody, like anybody, okay? It doesn't just have to be in pink, and you can make it in any color for anybody who might want it. You can make it in black, you can make it in gray, you can make it in brown. So lots of options there. I love the gray one, and I do want to make myself, I have a brown one, I do want to make myself one in black too. So, and I kind of feel like we should make another, maybe a different style hat with this yarn. What do you guys think? I mean, this hat is nice and it's beginner friendly, but we could also, like, I don't know, this one really covers your ears good, but we could almost make like a different style of hat. I'm going to have to think about that. I really am going to have to think about that and see what other styles of hats we could make with this yarn, because I get kind of full of ideas. I do. I just touch it. I'm like, ooh, oh, what could I do that? Could I do that? I get so inspired just touching my yarn, right? So anyways, I think we're good for this video. And of course, you're right, we have to say at the end, creativity, put my hat back on. Creativity is for everybody. Whether you see or you see like me, which is not in color and not in the day, or you don't see at all, creativity is for you. We're going to put on our whole set so you can see it, and let me know if you want to learn how to make all this goodness, all this floofy goodness. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or carving or whatever it is that you do today, it's a great day to craft and create. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, happy stitching. Bye-bye for now. And here's the whole set. So let me know if you want to know how to make the scarf and the gloves. The scarf's pretty easy, right? But let me know. And I'll have to remember sometime to tell y'all why I added carving. Because, yeah, there's something about carving. I'll have to try to get that into one of my videos sometime. I had a little experience going to a chainsaw carving event one time. Alrighty. Well, happy stitching, my friends. Bye-bye for now.